students, in this video I'm going to cover chapter 6 of class 6th. The name of the chapter is The Beginning of Indian Civilization. Okay, so let's start the chapter. In this particular chapter we are going to study about what is civilization actually is, and what kinds of town planning the people did at the earlier times, and what did Harappa eat during that time. Okay, a brisk trade, water management, and how they shift to village to city. So all these important topics we are going to cover in this chapter. Okay, so our first topic is what is civilization actually is. Okay, so civilization is a term used for an advanced stage of human society. Okay, so for human society advanced stage, this term is used in different parts of the world. Civilization started at different times. Here are the key characteristics that define a civilization. Okay, first, what is civilization actually is? So you can define it with the following ways that government and administration. Okay, so civilization is such a thing where government and administration work happen. For example, society needs a form of government to handle the complexities of daily life and organize various activities. Okay, so civilization just work like similarly like a government and its organization. Okay, they handle the issues properly, like as government handle the issues of citizens. It is an urbanization. Okay, this refers to planning and development of towns and cities, including the management, drainage, water management, everything, whatever is required for the citizens to live. It cares about the variety of crowds that involve working with raw materials. Okay, it involves trade because they participate. Civilization participate in trade within their own region as well as with far off places to exchange range of goods. Okay, so civilization is basically like its own country who is managing everything by itself, without depending on any other. Okay, they take care about, they work like government and administrators. They form an urbanization. They work variety for crafts. They also do trades for exports and imports, and they also writing. Okay, having writing is crucial, keeping records and facilitating communication. And through these records we are able to know now about them. Okay, you can also define these with two terms: cultural ideas and productive agriculture. Okay, so civilization is very important because it involves all the features which a country requires to run. Okay, next we have from village to city. Okay, now I already explained you that they were very they were handling the things by its own, and they were migrating, already thinking about towns and cities formation. So how they finally transformed from village to city. So it's regions like Punjab and its place, villages and towns were developed near the 3500 BCE. Okay, which is before Common Era. The plains of Punjab and Sindh were fertile and supported agriculture. Okay, so they were very rich in agriculture. The plains get used water from rivers Indus and its tributaries. Okay, so they were another river Saraswati that used to flow from the foothills of Himalayas and this. Okay, so in these plains, these plains grew into towns. Further, these towns developed as cities by extending their trade and exchanges. Okay, so they were very rich of agriculture, and their rivers flows through that part that has automatically become a cities because that part become rich in trade and other exchanges. Okay, so most people started gathering over there, and automatically economic system started developing. Okay, and this is how they migrated from village to city. Okay, this development is also called first urbanization of India because this is the first time that they are developing their own urbanization. Okay, second urbanization also held. Why are people at this ancient civilization called Harappas today? Okay, so the term Harappas come from the city Harappa, which is located present-day in Pakistan, Punjab region. Okay, Harappa was the first city of the civilization to excavate or dug up by archaeologists. This excavation happened a long time ago, between 1920 and 1921, which is more than a century back. Okay, that means it was a very fast time that this first city was established, and the name was Harappa. Okay, you can go through this map. It includes some settlements of India's Saraswati civilization. Next, we have town planning. Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, which is now in area of Punjab region, were the first two cities of the civilization to be discovered. Their identification goes back to 1924, a century ago. The civilization was initially named the Indian Valley Civilization because these cities were some of the first uncovered in the Indus Plains. Okay, so they were known by the name of Indus Valley Civilization because they covered the areas of Indus Valley, okay, which includes so many tributaries with it. Research progressed other important cities like Dholvira in Gujarat, Rakhigarhi in Haryana, and Ghanmeriwala, which is in now Cholistan desert of Pakistan, were found along many smaller cities as such as Lothal in Gujarat. Okay, so these are the important cities which also included. Excavations are still ongoing today, helps to uncover more details about this ancient civilization. And one significant region is these, okay, which includes major cities and all. Okay, this area have towns such as Bhirana and Bhanavali, but located in Haryana. Both located in Haryana. The high number of these sites of Saraswati Basin indicates the importance of Indus Valley civilization. Okay, so there were so many sites located, okay, which are showing that Indus Valley was really very important. So many people were dependent on this for the purpose of agriculture, water, and for their living, you can say. Next, we have town planning and architecture. So the large cities of Harappa civilization were designed with careful plannings. Okay, they had wide streets that were often oriented towards the cardinal directions. So, cardinal directions are those north, south, east, and west. These are cardinal directions. Most cities were surrounded by fortifications, which is defensive walls. That means these defensive walls were established so that no any random person can enter into it directly. The cities had two main sections, which is upper town first, which and lower town. Okay, so the upper town where local elite lives, and lower town is a section where common people resided. Okay, so for common people resided, we had lower towns, I'm sorry, and where local elites lives, these are upper towns. Okay, so some large buildings in these cities served collectively purpose, such as warehouses where goods to be transported were separated, stored. Okay, so there was some a separate collective purpose to store the house, to store the transports and important things. The streets were linked with individual houses of different sizes. Okay, as you can see, these streets are linked with individual houses. Okay, you can see that these streets are linked with individual houses. Okay, you can see that these streets are linked with individual separate houses. Clear? Next, all the houses were made up of bricks, were generally similar construction quality regardless of the size of the house. Okay, so no matter what size of the houses, the quality is almost same. Okay. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, one of the structure that people often discuss is the Great Bath in Mohenjo-daro. This is a large tank that measures about 12 into 7 meters. It was constructed using waterproofing materials like natural bitumen. Was surrounded by small rooms. One of these rooms had a well. The tank included a drain that allowed it to emptied and refilled with fresh water. Okay, so it had the facility of well which allowed it to refill with fresh water after using. Many theories have been suggested about the purpose, such as a public bath for everyone, a private bath for royal families, and a tank for regional rituals. Okay, so these are some suggested theories. However, the idea of being a public bath has been dismissed because most houses in Mohenjo-daro had its own individual bathroom, which shows that bathing facilities were available in private forms. Okay, so the people were already have their private home bathrooms, so they did not need to get a another public bath to establish. Okay, so this idea was dismissed due to always people have those things available. Okay. Next, we have water management. So Harappa had an advanced water management systems. They had separate bathing area, drains under streets, and even large reservoirs for large storage and distribution. And these things help us to understand it how previous time people were also so aware about the technology, conservation systems and all, which even today's time also so many people don't know. Okay, so earlier times people were also so many advanced, as we can see from these proofs. Advanced water management in Harappa civilization, let's study about it. So the Harappa placed a high value on water management and cleanliness. Their homes often included separate bathing areas that were connected to a large system of drains running beneath the street to dispose of wastewater. Okay, that means wastewater also disposes hand to hand as someone bath over there. In the city of Mohenjo-daro, residents obtain water from several bricks wells. In the other locations, water resources include ponds, nearby streams, or artificial lakes. For example, in Dholvira, which is situated in the Ran of Kuch in Gujarat, one of the largest reservoir, was an impressive 73 meters long. Okay, so this is such a construction impressive Dholvira about. Okay, Dholvira featured at least 6 large reservoir. Okay, some constructed from stones and other carved out from crops. Okay, these reservoirs were often connected by underground drains to enable effective water harvesting and distribution. Okay, so for water harvesting, it was also connected with the groundwater. Okay, so these are some advanced features of water management. What did the Harappas eat? So the Harappa established many of their communities near the banks of river, both large and small. This was a clever decision as it provided easy access to water supported by agriculture enriching the soil. Archaeology findings reveal that the Harappas cultivated different types of cereals, including barley, wheat, some millets, and occasionally rice. They also grew pulses and various kinds of vegetables. Notable, they were the first in Eurasia to grow cotton, which they used to make clothing. Okay, so Eurasia includes two countries involved, Europe and Asia. They both are connected with the Ural Mountains, so we collectively call it Eurasia. Okay, so to grow cotton when they used to be clothing. Okay, so what they're trying to say, they grow millet and occasionally rice. These are things. Okay, when archaeologists finding reveal that Harappa civilization different types of these things. Okay, now they were the first in Eurasia to grow cotton, which they used to make clothing. Okay, so they used cotton for clothing when they were first in Eurasia. The Harappans created farming tools such as plough, some of which are still used in farmers today. That means they were so advanced with today's technology, we are also using that. Large scale farming was organized through hundreds of small rural sites or villages. Similar to modern time, cities depend on receiving enough agriculture produce from rural areas only. That means like today's time, rural areas, cities areas are dependent on agriculture, which is in local rural areas. Similarly here also, rural areas daily production on agriculture depends, uh, cities and all depends on that. Clear? The Harappas also domesticated animals for meat, and again this is their additionally, apart from agriculture, they eat meat as we also eat today. Okay, scientific research that clay pots have provided insight to what the Harappas cooked. So according to scientists research, we have found what they actually eat. Okay, this indicates that their diet was quite varied and diverse. Okay, because their pots contain typical items like dairy products and unexpected ingredients like turmeric, ginger, and remnants of bananas, which is quite different, which is quite varied and diverse. Clear? A brisk trade. The Harappans were actively engaged both within their own society and with other cultures in India and beyond. They export various goods include like ornaments, timber, everyday items, possibly gold, cotton, and food. A highly sought after products were beads made from candle in a reddish stone primarily found in Gujarat. Harappan artisans developed unique method to drill and embellish these beads. They also crafted beautiful bangles from couch shells, which required skilled techniques due to difficulty of working with shells. It is not entirely clear what the Harappans imported in exchange, but they likely acquired copper as it was readily available in this area. Okay, so the Harappa, which is the first city of India, their copper is easily available, so they used it for exportation, and they used a material like ring time, which is not clearly uh, which is not clearly available in our theories and writings, but yes, it is something made up of copper because that was easily available in the city of Harappa. Trade routes and dockyards. To support trade, Harappa utilized various routes including land paths, rivers, and sea for long distances. Lothal features a large basin that was properly used as dockyard for loading and unloading goods for ships. The size of basin was impressive. Okay, roughly equivalent to the area of football field. It was roughly into that area. Okay, which was very good, which was very perfectly manufactured. Next, we have trade seals. So the Harappa utilized small seals made from a soft stone, which we call statite. I'm sorry, for managing their extensive trades. Okay, so for that they also used statite. These sails were only a few centimeters in size. Typically, they featured animal figures and various symbols carved into them. These symbols are a part of an ancient writing system. Okay, as you say, what kind of beautiful architectures and paintings they have designed on them. Clear? Next, we have the Harappas and bronze. So Harappas were very skilled at working with copper, which is a soft metal. Okay, copper is a soft metal. We already know about it. So they very known to work on that. When still added to copper, it creates bronze, a metal that is harder than copper. Okay, the Harappans used bronze to make various items, including tools, spawns, pans, and even some figures. And this is how they started using alloys also, instead of using pure metal, that is copper. The end or a beginning. Around 1900 BCE, the Sindhu-Saraswati civilization started to decline. Despite its earlier success, cities were gradually abandoned and those who were left behind began to resort to a rural lifestyle. It seemed that the original government or leadership was gone, leading to Harappa spreading out in many small villages. Archaeologists have suggested several reasons for this decline, but initial thoughts of war inventions causing destructions were not supported by evidence. There is no proof that Harappa had a military or weapons, indicating that the civilization was mostly peaceful. Okay, so we don't actually have proof that how they had weapons or mostly peaceful they were or not. Okay, but we have proof that initially they were very successful, but later it was started declining. Okay, Sindhu Saraswati, it started declining later. Okay, and then Harappa was divided into so many small villages. Okay, next we have key reasons widely acceptable for the decline. Okay, don't have sure proof, but we have key reasons which we generally accept. Okay, first we have climate change. So around 2200 BCE, global changing climate caused less rainfall and dry environment, making it hard to grow food and possibly leading to food shortage in the cities. Okay, so due to food shortage, climate change, drought and river drying, the Saraswati River dried up in the central area, which led to the abandonment of cities like Kalibangam and Manavali. Okay, so due to drought and river drying. Okay, so due to climate change, there were no food, and due to drought and river drying. Although other factors may have played a role, these two emphasizes how much have the civilization relied on climate and the environment for its survival. Even though the cities disappeared, a lot of Harappan culture technology continued and passed on to the next stage of Indian civilization. Okay, so Harappan civilization was very advanced in water management, so these techniques were also transferred to another Indian civilization. Okay, so here our this beautiful chapter completes. Thank you.